Could the success of Hank Brown impact Auburn's quarterback recruiting? People are asking.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's a Charlie Tuesday, so we're joined by Auburn message board legend Kyle Rush, also known as Charlie 5, also known as the man over at thebarnauburn.com, Auburn's newest message board. I don't think Arkansas trusts their team. We'll talk about that, as well as like the tight end position was already kind of like the weirdest position group on the team as far as production, and
just got weirder.
We'll jump into that. But look, Hank Brown obviously had an incredible debut as the Hank Brown era of him being the starting quarterback began this past Saturday. 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. His PFF grade was fantastic. He's getting recognized by the conference. So many good things. So many Auburn fans are saying, could Hank Brown, being a redshirt freshman, performing at a high level, negatively impact Auburn's quarterback recruiting? And I say no, it's not. But man, Auburn fans, I'm seeing that question be asked everywhere, Kyle.
Yeah, man. We're not used to this, I don't think. I don't think we're used to having multiple years of good quarterback, like recruiting, and then now we actually could have a quarterback that could last more than just one season. Like he could possibly be the quarterback for multiple years. But this is how you recruit. This is how big programs do. They stack it and then let the chips fall where they may. And if you lose some guys, to the portal. Then that's why you have to continue to bring in guys. And typically quarterbacks understand there's going to be a quarterback taken in every single year of every single class. So It's not like you don't take a quarterback as a freshman and say, I tell you what, if you come here, I'm not going to bring in a quarterback for 2 years. It's all you, buddy. That's not how it works. It can't work that way.
No, because you normally have 4-ish on scholarship. And so like just from a math standpoint, you can't do it that way. So to me, like, let's just be excited. Let's be excited that the start of Hank Brown's tenure as QB1 started off really, really strong. And let's hope that continues. But like, does that impact, the conversations with Deuce Knight? No.
Well,
it doesn't.
If our quarterback position, if our quarterback situation impacts Deuce Knight, then Notre Dame's has to impact him as well, because they signed a kid who was only one ranking spot lower than Walker White, and then they have a really good quarterback commit for 2026. So like he's got good guys on both sides. Like that's typically what good programs do. That's not. I mean, it shouldn't be an issue.
Well, I mean, we saw this a ton when like the Juju Lewis talk was really hot, and when the Deuce Knight conversation was really hot, which I'm going to get your thoughts on that in a second. But the people are like, well, what about Walker and Hank? It's like, what do you mean?
What about them?
You need another one.
We love them.
You need another one. It's just so bizarre. And like, I don't see other fan bases do this. Obviously we're in it with Auburn. And so like, I'm sure it does happen elsewhere, but nobody says that about running backs. Like when
you're trying to bring in 2 running backs this year. So does that mean you don't like Cobb and you don't like Austin?
Well, what about Jeremiah Cobb? It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And like, Auburn fans have been so big on like being an RBU and, like using past running back experiences to help recruit your position, or with corner. I think we've seen it. I mean, Auburn's had a tremendous run at the cornerback position. And it's like, well, in those cases, it's a selling point. But all of a sudden, when you talk about quarterback, it's like, oh, if you've got a good quarterback, it hurts you in recruiting. It's this weird narrative that it really needs to go away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of follow the logic a little bit if you think that you're going to come in and you're going to be behind somebody for like 3 or 4 years. Like if you have a really good freshman quarterback, which I guess Hank technically is a redshirt freshman, but he could, if he has 2 good years, he could go to the NFL. He'd be 3 years removed. So I guess if you come in, you're trying to come in behind a guy that's like a true freshman and he's got, he's going to be here at least 3 seasons, maybe. And Hank, I guess in theory could possibly be here for 3 seasons, but I just don't, nobody thinks that way. Like Alabama is going to bring in the best quarterback they can every single year. Georgia's going to bring in the best quarterback they can every single year, and so on and so forth. That's what great programs do.
Well, what's the latest in your mind with Deuce Knight and his recruitment?
I still love where we are with Deuce. I think
you do. Okay.
I still feel, I'm a little bit, instead of like 95% sure he's going to come to Auburn, I may only be down to like 80% sure. I think everything is in Auburn's favor. The family wants him here. I think the NIL situation is better. I don't think Notre Dame can really compete with what we've got going on for Deuce. And I still don't think they're confident. I don't think they're confident, especially some of their like managerial, like their player personnel staff. I don't think they're very confident in it because they're actively scouting other quarterbacks and, reaching out to people and finding out, what's on Deuce's mind type stuff. So like, I don't think they're confident in it either. And I think the jumping off point is probably going to be, that official visit for Oklahoma. And that's why I think you're starting to see some other names that Auburn's interested in kind of pop up to maybe say, okay, this is where we can go. We will pivot to this if we have to. And ultimately, I think he's going to want to end up in the SEC. I just don't think he's going to. I just don't see him going to Notre Dame. I don't see him ending up there.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Does Hank Brown's early success make this battle for Deuce Knight less important?
No, absolutely not. No, you got to have because Hank could twist an ankle. Hank could hurt his shoulder. He could, no, not at all. Like when people, that's another thing when we talked about people would pivot to Walker. Or what do we give up on Walker now that we're going for Deuce? No, those things there's no connection there. Like there should be no connection between quarterbacks of different classes. Now, portal quarterbacks, that's another story. But high school quarterbacks, there should be no correlation between if this sophomore quarterback does well, do we get this freshman? No, you get a quarterback every single year. And you try to get the best quarterback you can out of high school every single year.
It's too important not to have that position settled. I mean, it's just you have to have an answer. And
yes.
Mike G always brings up this stat, and I wish I remembered it. I think he said 12 teams played multiple quarterbacks last year, and we're already seeing the impact of that this year with Auburn having the flexibility to pull their quarterback and pull Peyton and start Hank. I mean, you saw, the Bama game against Wisconsin, like Tyler Van Dyke just messed up his knee. I think he's out for the year. Like it seems like more and more teams are needing to use multiple quarterbacks, and you can't have too many of them. It's just impossible.
Florida's not really the best case study, but Graham hurt. Is it Mertz? Is that his name?
Graham Mertz. Mm-hmm.
Graham Mertz gets hurt. I think he has a concussion. Is that right? I think I'm right. Has to sit out a game, and DJ Lagway gets to go in and play a game, and then Mertz goes back in, and they get murked. but still, that's another scenario where you got to have good quarterbacks, and you got to have multiple quarterbacks. Do not correlate a Hank Brown with any high school recruit. Like don't have that conversation. They don't work with or against each other. If anything, it helps because it's somebody.
I'm with you.
It's like I can come. If anything, if Hank has a good year, a quarterback will say, "Man, I want to come watch that guy for a year and learn everything I can from him." I think it would helps more than it hurts.
And like let's say Hank continues to turn it on. Freeze is going to be like, he was a 3-star.
Yeah.
Look at what we can do with you.
Yeah.
That's going to be a thing.
You have so many more tools than him. Like, and look what I'm doing with him. Imagine what I can do with you.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Dadgummit.
No, but just enjoy. It's like something good happens and we want to focus on something negative. And like, that's not the case. This is good all around. Good quarterback play is good all around in every aspect of your program.
Yes.
Don't twist it. Don't twist it.
Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. The tight end position was already one of the most interesting position groups, and a terrible injury. Like, I don't want to laugh about that, but like, I mean, obviously, like to one of the best team first guys on this roster. But something Hugh Freeze said last night at Tiger Talk, I was just blown away by. And he hinted at it his presser yesterday. That's coming up right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by some new friends. Our friends at Roy. Hey, Auburn fans, have you heard about Roy? It stands for Return on You. And it's a new platform that lets you, the fans, get involved in NIL like never before by making contributions directly to your favorite athletes. By supporting players directly, you can help shape rosters, retain talent, and keep your favorite athletes out of the transfer portal. As you all know, NIL has changed the game for athletes, and Roy changes the game for fans. So you can go on the Roy app. It's a mobile app on your phone, and all the players are on there. And you make a contribution, and then the player doesn't get that until they stay at the school. And so if you give money to a player, you get the content, exclusive content from the player. But if they leave your school, you get the money back. So
what?
They want to eliminate the free agency aspect of college football, which I think is cool. You've got $1 million, Kyle. You've got $1 million in your pocket. Who are you giving it to via the Roy app? Where are you going?
I'm going walk on. I'm going Griffin Speaks. He may be on scholarship now, but I'm going Griffin
is on scholarship now.
He killed. I think he killed a child on the opening kickoff, and I want to reward him with $1 million.
All right. So download Roy for iOS or Android and enter referral code Locked On, and you'll get automatically entered into a sweepstakes to win $5,000 cash. Visit joinroy.com for additional details. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Get the Roy app for iOS or Android to start making an impact on your favorite team. Use referral code Locked On to have an opportunity to win $5,000. Get off the sidelines and into NIL with Roy. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sports book. 3.5-point favorites against Arkansas are the Auburn Tigers. Your gut reaction, Kyle, is what? You taking it?
I would have said it would have been a 6.5-point spread to the Auburn's favor. So I'm taking Auburn. I think it opened somewhere around 5.5 and went down to 3.5.
Oh,
so I'm definitely taking Auburn there.
That's interesting. So yeah, get in on the action. Visit FanDuel.com right now to download America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. The everydayers know that we've been talking about the tight ends a ton, mainly about Rivaldo Fairweather. And like, we finally saw Hank Brown get the ball to him and they scored and he caught it more consistently. That's great. So Brandon Frazier, he broke his foot. Freeze talked about that right after the game. He's getting a procedure this week. They're getting a plate or something put in there, which is brutal. I reacted to Hugh Freeze's presser yesterday, and I said, like, he is one of the, like, pure college athletes in college football, where it's like he had several opportunities where he would have probably got more playing time if he had hit the transfer portal. We talked about him for, like, several portal cycles, saying, like, oh, he's going to enter. He never did. Stuck around. He got rewarded with the playing time last year, and he's been solid this year. So he's going to miss some extended time, obviously. Hugh Freeze hinted at his presser yesterday, said it on Tiger Talk last night. Jaden Muskrat, who I guess has become Auburn's 8th or 9th offensive lineman, and I guess this kind of confirms it. He's like the emergency tight end now, I guess, which is wild that they told us that, for one. And two, it's like, okay, like, what do we do with this information?
Zach, if Brandon Frazier was gone down, okay, and you made me guess who the like fill-in tight end was going to be, like they were going to change somebody's position. How many players are on the roster?
Well, you get 85 on scholarship, right?
Okay, let's just go with 85. I would have guessed him about guess 80. I think he would not have been anywhere near the top 10 of who I would think would be moved to tight end. But but as much as the tight ends are used a lot now and as H backs and blocking, and it is like he is way down the list. So like it's a very emergency situation. But I would have never guessed. I would have taken like a defensive end or something and over there before.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Like who's a reserve D lineman that's not really playing, and there's not really one. You want to put Darren Reed there? Like
yes. Give me Darren Reed there. He would have been like my third guess probably. He's like,
can you imagine how hyped up everybody would be like? Oh, Darren Reed's at tight end.
Throw it every play, every other play. Throw it to him. Yeah. Or think of who somebody. Gosh, any defensive lineman just about. I would have put Jason Jones out there at tight end. Like imagine that big monster.
That'd be.
He was supposed to be like a backup, like a offensive lineman, like reserve offensive lineman last week if things would have gone south because of all the injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
So we know he can at least block a little bit. Throw him a pass. 6'6", 300 coming down.
There are other offensive linemen I would have said before him too. Like, put Favor Edwin on the field, baby.
Favor's he doesn't have that girth yet on him. Like he's still kind of,
he can probably still move, which tells me is really just like a sixth offensive lineman.
Oh yeah, totally. This is when they go the big set or like or goal line or something like that. If we even have that.
If that's the case, though, why are we even calling it a tight end? Let's just use a sixth offensive lineman. Like, let's say Xavier Miller's back and you're starting Percy Lewis on the other side. Like, well, let's just put Tyler Johnson on the field. Let's just put our three best tackles on the field then.
Do we have a single digit jersey left? Can you imagine Jaden Muskrat rolling out there in like number 5 or something? I know he can't be number 5, but like number 2 on offense, the tight end. That would be electric. You know, they have to do the jersey switch when it's like number so and so is now checking in at whatever.
We have 7? We have we can't.
What is his size? He's like 6'4", what, 300, 290, something like that.
All of our single digit numbers are taken.
How about
because you can't wear 2 or 7.
Yeah, that's another conversation we'll have one day.
You think they should be able to
on retired numbers? Yeah, I think so. I think they should be. I think you should use them as a recruiting tool.
You want somebody to wear 2?
Yes. Can you imagine? You want to talk about? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the recruiting tool it is if everybody gets to vote on who gets to wear Cam's number, and then Cam gets to come present it to them? Are you kidding me?
Cam probably wants to keep it retired.
I know, and I don't understand that. I don't get that. I don't like that. We had the quick story.
I think less of you as a human, right?
Quick story, really quick. Okay, I don't remember the year. Ernie Sims was like the number 1 linebacker in the country back in the early 2000s or whatever. It was when Tubbs was here. Okay, he wanted to come to Auburn. He wore 34 in high school. They were going to unretire it, and they called Bo and said, "Can he wear 34?" He said no. So he goes to Florida State. He wears number 34, and he's a first-round draft pick. Come on, Bo, help us out, man. Like I think, don't you think that would be cool if you could say, here's the recruiting tool. You got a chance to possibly wear number 2, and Cam's going to present the jersey to you, and everybody's going to vote on it. If you can earn. I'm
trying to think of like what I would feel if I saw an Auburn player wearing 2.
Now you don't just give it to everybody every year, but like
who would wear it this year? Give me an example.
I don't think there would be a 2 this year. I don't think there would be a 2 quarterback this year.
Is it got to be a quarterback?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be, but I don't know that there would be. I don't know that there would be a 2 this year.
The only one where I'm like, would be like if Cam Coleman wasn't going to come here, and the only way to get him was for him to wear 2.
Oh, why? I mean, what is it? You can't do that. Like, I don't want to see anybody run around in 2. I mean, that's what you just said. You're saying what I said.
Yeah,
you're saying you're taking my argument.
I still don't like it. I still don't like it.
I want to use, like, everybody has numbers. Like Texas A&M has a number that.
But not everybody has 3 Heisman winners.
No, a lot of times, a lot of people have more. I mean, that is a big deal.
Not really.
I mean, there's
how many schools have more than 3 Heisman winners? I genuinely don't know.
Alabama's
got to be low.
I think Alabama's one,
but they just like passed it. Like it took them forever to pass it.
It doesn't matter. They still have it. I'm sure Ohio State's probably got more than 3 or more than 2. There's probably several.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to say like the top 3 or 4 programs in history, and that's it.
I want national championships, and I want to give numbers back. I want to bring numbers back out of retirement.
I can't wait to see. Like, I genuinely don't know what the reaction to this is going to be.
Oh, that's going to be absolute. I think people are going to be enraged at me. I'm going to be honest. I think they're going to be very angry with me.
I mean, I'm more angry about it than I'm letting on right now. 100%.
But you 100%. Just agreed with me. You said you'd love to see if Cam Coleman was going to go somewhere else and you could sell him on being able to wear number 2, and then Cam gets to come present the jersey to him, or Cam gets to call him and say, you get to wear 2, treat it right, do well, good luck kind of thing. Like, how big of a recruiting tool is that? That's massive. Instead, we're going to take the numbers away and nobody can ever wear them again. That doesn't – I don't like it. I don't like it. 7's a cool quarterback.
So anyway, yeah, the tight end position has been very, very interesting this year. No question about it. Jaden Muskrat, welcome to the tight end room for sure. I can't wait to see the response to that. I don't ever read the comments. I'm going to read them today. 100%. Arkansas doesn't seem to believe in their team, which is great.
Yeah.
Let's jump on that in just a second right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall.
I love Alumni.
Can you imagine buying any Auburn swag unless you're going to Alumni Hall?
It makes no sense. I will if I get within 1 mile of that store, I buy something. It's crazy.
I'm with you. I don't even. It's like they've cast a spell.
Yeah.
On us. So you care about Auburn? You care about showcasing your fandom?
Every kind of Auburn gear you can possibly imagine, they have it. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. Should you be so you're pro custom jerseys?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing excites you more than somebody getting a number 2 or a number 7 or number 34 and then putting their own name on it. Nothing excites you more. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, nothing excites me more.
Wild. That's wild. You've probably got a full wardrobe of retired jerseys that just has Rush on the back of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You got them all at Alumni Hall.
Everyone.
You got them all at Alumni Hall. They've got 3 great physical locations in Auburn, Opelika, and Huntsville, as well as online at alumnihall.com. We love those guys. Go give them some love. So I was listening to Locked On Razorbacks. Thank you for making us your first listen. Make Locked On Razorbacks your second listen this week to kind of get fully prepared for this game. They escaped UAB, if that's the words you want to use. They feel like they escaped. I mean, it seems like they won the game. But to me, they don't feel good about where their team is at. I mean, this is a team that blew out Arkansas Pine Bluff and then lost a heartbreaker on the road to Okie State, where I'm like, I still don't really know what to think about this team. They escape, I'm using air quotes, UAB. I still don't really know what to think about this team. Like, when I watch them play on offense, it seems like they've got a lot of dynamic playmakers, but they don't feel like they do. Like, you listen to the voice of the fan base, which I think John Neighbors is that for that fan base. And it's just, they don't seem optimistic about what they have on the offensive side of the ball at all. Meanwhile, you've got Hugh Freeze and us and everybody that covers this team looking at Arkansas saying ooh, watch out. They're dynamic. They've got a dynamic quarterback. They've got an effective running game. Let's be careful here. I kind of like how this feels, Kyle. I'm not going to lie to you.
If I just close my ears whenever you said Arkansas fan base or whatever feels this way about their team and just listen to what you just said, I would have thought you were talking about our fan base, because this seems like there's a lot of similarities there as far as not a lot of hope. This is like the no hope bowl. Like, you feel the fan base is, you're playing for hope right now. This week is whoever wins this game, they have hope for the rest of the season, I guess. That's because both of us feel like we're trending in the wrong direction from a fan base perspective. But no, I think they're probably at least 50% better than New Mexico, like a version of New Mexico that's just a little bit better.
Are they a better team than Cal?
No, that would be tough. That would be a really good game. I think that would be a really good game. Which, I mean, I guess I would love to play Cal again. Well, I'd love to play Cal one more time. But
I mean, if Hank's a starter against Cal, I don't think it's close. But
yeah, I mean, I can see that argument, and I can understand why. The game plan Saturday with Hank against Cal, I think would have been really good. But no, I mean,
there's a quarterback back there that actually like runs the play that's called, like does what the quarterback's supposed to do,
and checks into the correct plays, 100% on run checks, which kind of blows me away on your first start. But we're talking about
for folks who don't know, Hugh Freeze said that Hank was 100% on run checks at his presser, and it's like that should be normal.
Yeah,
that should be a normal thing that you're starting your quarterback for, and it's like, oh, we hear that, it's like, oh, okay, like it's like, so he did the job. He did what he was taught to do.
He did what he did in practice in the game. That's crazy. I didn't realize.
That was possible. Or maybe he even did it even better because, like, he has what you want. He's got that, I call it moxie, it factor, whatever you want to call it. It's like, oh, he's got it. He's got it.
Sure.
And I mean, I think Arkansas is probably more than 50% better than New Mexico.
Okay. I think they're a little bit better. I think they're like a New Mexico style, but maybe just a little bit better on both sides of the ball. And I don't know what they have in the skill position area, but I do know this, and I feel very confident in this. If we try to do, I think if Auburn tries to do the keep the quarterback from rushing the ball, and you don't really go aggressive, and you kind of keep him behind the line of scrimmage, and if he can run around, I think they'll have better skill guys with a little bit better ball skills that could take advantage of some of those deep balls that New Mexico missed out on. I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment. So that we're going to have to dial up some pressure, which you feel like you got guys that can do that if you just utilize them that way. So I'm anxious to see it. I feel a lot more, I guess, just cautiously optimistic. I don't really have the doom.
I'm with you.
And with Arkansas, I'm kind of shocked that they're not supremely confident coming in, especially after watching what Auburn did on defense last week, and obviously the loss to Cal.
Yeah, I mean, their offense was not great. They were able to run the ball effectively, which I think our rush defense is fine. I don't feel super confident saying that, actually, because a lot of it's going to have to do with how they use their quarterback. And I think Jaquindon Jackson, Arkansas's running back, is good. But you said something about the skill players in the receiving game against UAB last week. Taylor Green completed 11 of his 26 passes. Not good.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not
one of them was a pick. But 8 of the 11 completions were to Andrew Armstrong.
Okay.
That's the guy's name. And it's like, okay, is that?
I think he was a transfer last year. I want to say he was a portal guy last year and had a pretty good year last year. So I think that's who that is.
He was a portal guy after the 22 season.
Okay.
So he was at Arkansas last year. The year before that, he was at A&M, Texas A&M Commerce.
Yep. I remember that. Yeah.
So but he played last year too.
A big A&M Commerce guy. Love that school.
Yeah, you are. That and like people wearing number 2 at Auburn. That's just those are your favorite things. But it's like, okay, if you stop him and stop the run, like you're probably good. What about that
one guy that's about my age that played in the MLB or something like that came back? I think they have like a receiver that's got a 401k that's pretty stocked.
Good for him. Good for him.
I don't know much about him other than he played Major League Baseball.
Got it. And he played against you in high school at some point.
He's my uncle, actually.
Wow. Yeah. It's like Taylor Green. I mean, he's kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to run the football. He's comfortable when he's able to, which makes sense. But if you stop this running game, I think if I'm Auburn, I stack the box and I say, you got to throw and beat us.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the game plan. And we'll see if they're able to execute it. I hope we see more than a 3-man front on Saturday.
And if it is a 3-man front, I still hope we bring more than 3 people. I hope if you line up where maybe there's only 3 down linemen,
sure.
I hope 4 or 5 are coming more than just 3. That to me is a bigger deal than where everybody's lined up. Like I want to see, we got to get after some guys, and it can't be Jaron Thompson blitzing in the A gap. It's got to be these guys that you've brought in to rush the passer or get, be disruptive. It's got to be those guys.
I'm with you. I like the matchup. Going into the season, I thought this was a guaranteed win. That is not the case anymore. I do think Auburn wins. I'm not outrageously confident about it, but I do think just on paper, Auburn should be in a good spot to win this game. So we'll see. We will see. Kyle Rush, Charlie 5. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
Yeah, subscribe to The Barn, thebarnauburn.com. It's $1 for your first month for just a little bit longer. You can test it out for $1, and then it's just $9.95 after that. We do recruiting updates every single day. We've got several different insiders dropping nuggets. You got Zac with just elite intel on team intel and stuff like that. So a little bit of everything. We got basketball stuff. We got all kind of stuff to have fun, have some good conversations. That's where you can find me most of the time, thebarnauburn.com. And obviously you can follow me on Twitter at @the_Charlie_5. And then you can catch me every single day on the Top Button Podcast. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, Auburn Hoops, baby, with Zep Jasper. Dropping one tomorrow.
Yes, Zep's coming back.
Broom.
Let's go. Yeah, be sure to check that out. And I also do a show at The Barn on YouTube with Brad Law. It's called Village Vice, so be sure to check that out for sure. thebarnauburn.com. Like the video, please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.